So if your testosterone is currently stuck below 600 or so, there is a very high chance that your body fat percentage that you have right now is silently keeping it stuck there. And I'm not necessarily saying that you're overweight, but there is a narrow gap in terms of the body fat percentage you need for your testosterone levels to truly thrive. When it's too high, testosterone converts into estradiol at too high a rate or aromatization. Too low, and cortisol stops your testosterone from hitting the higher level. So today I'm going to be breaking down the ideal range for optimal testosterone levels, especially 800 plus testosterone, and how to get there, crucially, without completely wrecking your hormones. So I look at men's testosterone blood work every single week, and one of the most consistent patterns I keep seeing is guys with elite testosterone levels. They sit in the similar sort of body fat percentage range. They're not absolutely shredded year round, and they're not exactly carrying excess body fat either. They've got a good metabolism, they're metabolically sound, they're insulin sensitive, and they're not swinging up and down all the time. So without any further ado, here's the ultimate guide for hitting sub 15% body fat in a way that's not going to wreck your hormones or your metabolism. So the first point is you've got to understand the optimal body fat percentage range and that sort of window you want to be in. 10 to 15% body fat, roughly. You could argue for younger men who have very good genetics, you could lower that to 8%. But I think for most people watching this, it's going to be 10 to 15%. Too low, any lower than that, and it just gets too stressful, especially if you've got a stressful job, especially if you've got kids. You're not going to be lower than 10% body fat and have optimal testosterone levels. If you go above 15%, you're probably messing with blood sugar, maybe SHBG. You're definitely playing with fire with estradiol and a couple of other things as well. It's not going to be ideal if you're like 20% body fat. That's never going to be your optimal. The second major point, and this is just a basic fundamental, I won't go on forever about this because there are other videos on YouTube, but keep the calorie deficit sustainable. Don't kill yourself. Don't starve yourself. Don't be silly. You're going to wreck your metabolism, your thyroid, your sleep, your cortisol is going to be through the roof. All kinds of nasty things start happening when you're chasing like a 1,000 calorie deficit per day as a natural. That's not a good idea. You need the basics. You need good sleep. You need your thyroid to be on point. Your body can't be thinking it's under threat or it's going to die. You need to keep some basic anabolic factors going. Not to mention as well, kind of the obvious thing that I didn't say is if you wreck your sleep and your cortisol's through the roof, your testosterone is going to go down as you get leaner. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. Get leaner slowly and your testosterone will go up. Now, point number 3, this is going to be huge, is protein intake. Every single man watching this needs to be eating at least 150 grams of protein. If you're 6'5" or very, very muscular already, it's going to be more like 200 grams. So it depends on your size, depends on your activity level, things like that. At least 150. If you're not hitting 150, something is wrong with your diet. This should be every single day. Quality sources, of course, should be a higher priority. But the point is, it's good for your metabolism. It's going to maintain your muscle. It's good for SHBG and keeping free testosterone higher. It's good for thyroid. It's good for a whole host of things that will stop you from messing your body up by dieting too hard and things like that. The typical pitfalls that guys mistakes that they fall for. Keep the protein intake high 7 days a week. Now, point number 4 is that micronutrients are not optional when it comes to testosterone. You technically can get lean. You can for a while get lean, get ripped by eating pizzas every day or just eating the average, the standard American or the standard English or the standard whatever diet. You can do that, but you're not going to optimize your testosterone levels. You need the micros. It's so important, just basic stuff. So cholesterol, zinc and copper, guys, zinc and copper. If you've got really high zinc and low copper, that is going to make you worse off. You need the balance. B vitamins, selenium. Did I mention cholesterol? You need these micros. It's absolutely essential for just fundamental blocks for building testosterone. This is how, and I've mentioned oysters before. I've done a video on oysters. I might link that. Where it's high protein, low calories, extremely nutrient dense. These kinds of foods are how you can rapidly increase your testosterone levels as you get leaner and leaner, assuming you're not messing your sleep up and assuming you're getting enough protein and stuff like that. These nutrients are also huge for your thyroid as well. Like you need these macros if you want to maintain half decent metabolism. And all of this ties together to make it sustainable fat loss. So you lower your actual body fat threshold. So your body fat, the level that your body is happy at, instead of it being 18%, you genuinely lower it and lower it and lower it, and it gets easier and easier to stay at a lower body fat year round. Huge, huge point. Point number 5 is a common thing I keep seeing with clients, especially if you've got like a tech job or you're on the computer all day. Guys who are doing like labor, you've got it easy here, or some sort of roofing or something. Point number 5 is daily activity levels matter more than traditional cardio. You can do the cardio stuff, but if you don't enjoy it, or it's boring, or it's knackering on the body, that could end up causing more problems, especially if it's stressful or it's more intense. Get some sort of daily activity where you're not sat all the time. Go for walks, do some hiking if that's what you'd rather do. If you can get a standing desk, that is actually quite a big factor. As long as you're not sat down all day with a super low metabolism, really, really low calories out. So you have to starve yourself more and more. Like, I've known guys who are like 25% body fat and they literally can't eat more than 2,000 calories a day. Their thyroid and their metabolism is that messed up. You are not going to hit 10% body fat under those circumstances. You need to raise the calorie output, so the metabolic burn, the protein intake, the sleep. You need all these factors to have a chance in the real world of getting lean. You can do all the calculators all you like online. You're not going to stick to that diet if you're starving yourself to even get to 18% body fat. You've got no chance. You'll end up binging, guaranteed. So point number 6 is to train hard but recover harder. Obviously, you need to train. You need to resistance train if you want to maintain your muscle. The act of resistance training is a testosterone boosting activity, especially if you train your legs very hard, especially if you train your traps, do plenty of shrugs, because there's a lot of androgen receptors there, so it makes your body use the testosterone better, more efficiently, but recover harder. So if you train hard, don't just go in there and do the motions. Train hard with a specific goal in mind, whatever that is for you. 3 to 5 days per week. Take those days off on the other days, and make sure you're sleeping well. Make sure this is where it all ties in together: the sleep, the micronutrients, the protein, every single day, ideally. And recovering will stop your cortisol from getting too high, your prolactin, which can get too high if you train hard and you don't recover. And all of this means your testosterone is just going to keep on climbing as you get leaner and leaner and leaner. But you do have to set this up the right way. Point number 7 is to keep some carbs in your diet and keep them strategically timed. So obviously you're going to need the carbs to come down to some degree as you get leaner and leaner. They're going to have to come down at some point. And you can play around with fats and carbs. I would never cut protein, but keep them in there, especially pre and post workout. A certain amount, just a small amount, can go a long way, especially fruit, especially raw honey, potatoes. And I would have some in the evening as well, because at these crucial times, they lower your cortisol levels when you need them to be slightly lower. And they also refill muscle glycogen, hugely important in a deficit. Liver glycogen as well, also important. And they help you to sleep. The sleep quality improves when your cortisol is lower. You stay asleep. There's no waking up at 2 in the morning. So you want quality carbs at the right time. Carbs is a huge topic. Whenever anyone says carbs are evil, alarm bells should be ringing here. That's like saying protein is evil or fats are evil. There's different types. It's an entire macronutrient. There's a million types of that macro you can consume, and they are not the same. Don't get me started on that. But carbs, quality carbs at the right time is going to be a really important weapon that you have whilst you get leaner, because it's going to keep your cortisol lower, and your sleep's going to be better, and your testosterone, again, will keep on climbing whilst your body fat gets lower. Finally, the 8th point is, on a similar note, I would add in creatine. I'll keep creatine in there. Some people have this idea that creatine is only for bulking. And it's like, actually, you need it whilst cutting more, like, to maintain muscle glycogen. And creatine tends to give you a slight edge from a testosterone standpoint in and of itself. Is really, really useful. It can reduce stress levels and cortisol as well, um, through its own direct mechanisms, and you'll be a little bit stronger, and you won't lose. Some people have head gains; they lose their desire to get shredded if they lose a tiny bit of strength in the gym. Creatine will offset that. Creatine is very, very useful, so I would do that. It's also cheap as anything. So the big thing is how do we make this, like, what sort of expectations can you have? I would say most guys can get pretty ripped, as in sub 15% down to 10% within 8 to 16 weeks. Obviously, if you're morbidly obese, it's going to take longer than that, but I wouldn't try to rush it. Rushing it is going to backfire 9 times out of 10, especially if you're natural, especially if you're not like some sort of god tier genetics. And guys like that do exist, but they're usually like pro athletes in some regard already. They're probably not watching this. Maybe some of you are, I don't know. But I wouldn't rush it. That's the point. 8 to 16 weeks, just consistency wins. Now, I've only briefly touched on how to train properly for high testosterone. I've spoken about leg training, androgen receptors. If you want to know my favorite high T exercise that is not deadlifts and it's not squats, because they tend to be higher risk. I have a lot of clients in their 40s and 50s. I don't recommend heavy deadlifts twice a week. I really don't think that's a good idea. There is a better exercise that gives you the same testosterone benefits, but it's actually way better for your knees, way better for your lower back, way more sustainable, and it will help you into your 50s, 60s, 70s. And there's different options for how you can do this. Check out that video. Um, Really, really useful exercise. I recommend it to all my clients because it's high reward, very low risk. It's just a no brainer to me. So I'll see you in that video. I think you'll find it useful.